Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another interesting episode for you guys that you definitely want to stick around for. So make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all are fully aware, drama sells. There's just no two ways about it, right? People, for whatever reason, love to hear a juicy story that is usually filled with some type of drama, and it is no different in the sports world. It is one of the reasons, if you think about it carefully, the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen fallout has garnered so much attention, even though these guys haven't been teammates in roughly 25 years. There's stories that happened back then that are being discussed today that millions and tens of millions of people are interested in hearing about. We already knew the events that took place. We already knew that they won the championship. We already knew the finals MVPs and the three-peats. We know all of that. But what people are really interested in now is the backstory, the drama, the fallout. That's really what I've noticed. And it seems that sometimes us in sports here, we sometimes push the envelope too far, and sometimes it comes back to bite us in the butt. And that is exactly what happened in the case of Malika Andrews' sister, Kendra Andrews, who is a reporter for ESPN. Now, as y'all know, the Warriors and Grizzlies series was highly entertaining. You know, the second round series in the Western Conference just a few weeks ago was full of drama, right? It was full of drama. You had John Morant going at Stephen Curry, talking about we're going to make it fun. And of course, you had Draymond Green and his own, and the things that he does. And then, the two teams and the Memphis Grizzlies being a very young, confident basketball club going up against the Golden State Warriors. It was an extremely fun series to watch. However, there was a story that came out right before Game 5 was played, where it was said that Stephen Curry's strategy before that game was to whoop that trick. That's what Stephen Curry said. And apparently, those comments got back to the Memphis Grizzlies and their fans, and while they were playing Game 5 and getting blown out, the crowd was basically chanting at the Golden State Warriors, whoop that trick, where you saw Draymond Green basically dancing and like waving his towel around. So for those of you who didn't hear the crowd, basically, we're going to play like a quick 20-second clip, and I want you guys to listen to the Memphis Grizzlies crowd basically serenade the Golden State Warriors players with whoop that trick. Take a listen to that here, and then we're going to come back. That's what the crowd was doing because they were reacting to the comments that Stephen Curry supposedly had to make about their team, right? Now, where did that all come from? Well, apparently that report, that report was basically put out by Kendra Andrews, who's the sister of Malika Andrews, on ESPN. So what we want to play is her basically reporting that on live TV, and it was that report that they were able to pick up on, meaning the Memphis players, the Memphis team, and then obviously the Memphis fans. So take a listen to Kendra Andrews basically saying it, and then we're going to come back. Take a listen to her here.
Malika, I also asked Stephen Curry what the plan was tonight, and he just turned around and looked at me and said, whoop that trick. That is our game plan.
Oh, my goodness. Taking their own catchphrase and putting it back. Thank you so much, Kendra. I really appreciate the time.
Now, after some weeks have gone by and the dust is settled, and as y'all know, the Golden State Warriors are currently in the NBA Finals facing the Boston Celtics, and I think is going to be a fun matchup, and it is the matchup I hoped we would get, and I can't wait for the finals to get started. It looks like, however, that Andre Iguodala, who is a teammate of Stephen Curry, is basically calling her and her network out for basically lying. So for those of you who miss Andre Iguodala on his podcast talking about it, we're going to play his comments and we're going to come back here and react to it. So take a listen to what Andre Iguodala had to say there.
Sometimes I'll look at articles, I'm like, bro, dude, rent must have been due. Because there's no way. No, it's funny, but it's not. Because it's like there's no way with anybody with integrity, or you go to school or anything else like that, they're teaching you just to put out this nonsense, or it's okay to put out a false report, or it's okay to put out something that's half true.
Yeah.
On another person's life.
That happened to us in the Memphis series. Somebody misreported something on the faces of our league, and it hurt me because it's like, now we got to look at you like you're an outsider, and they're going to say it's not right, and why you do this person like that. But it's no, you false reported something. There's consequences and repercussions to all our actions, even when we make mistakes. Well, it applies to y'all too.
So there you have it. There you have it. Stephen Curry never said that after all. Now, here are my thoughts on this. Sports media is a very, very, very competitive industry. And there are a lot of people talking about sports all the time. Sports media is extremely competitive. If you just think about the amount of content that is being produced on an hourly basis, it's a lot of it, right? So you really have to be good and you really have to stand out. You have to be consistent and you have to consistently put out great stories every single day. Literally, if you want to be competitive. And obviously, there are various strategies that you can use to produce, sports content. In this case, we're going to talk about NBA content, right? There are various ways, but overall, you still have to be consistent and your content has to be good. And I think in the pursuit of that thing that I just mentioned of being good and consistent, we sometimes can over-embellish stories and make them juicier than they need to be just for our audience to click and watch. That happens sometimes. And sometimes we can end up going as far as saying things that never happened. It is one of the reasons on our channel, whenever we produce a video, if you notice on all of our videos, we always try to provide a source. If it's an article, we always say where the articles are coming from. Usually it's from CBS Sports, where we usually get a lot of our articles. If we're going to talk about something that a person said and we don't have an article, usually we try to provide some audio proof, either from the people saying it themselves or somebody else reporting on that, right? We always try to do that. Why? Because people can be skeptical, and sometimes, as you can see with this particular story here, sometimes people can flat out make things up. So we try to avoid that and provide as much evidence to support the things that we're saying, so people can't come back and say, hey man, you just put out that story where they said the Lakers said this or this, or this and this guy said this, and it wasn't true. So to avoid all of that, we try to provide as much sources as we can. And it seems like in this case, the story wasn't real. And if Stephen Curry, and there was no way for us really to verify, because Stephen Curry never came out and addressed it himself. It was only after his teammate, Andre Iguodala, came out and said, hey, wait a minute. This network, what your reporter just said is not true. Had he not said that, how are you going to know? She said it's what Stephen Curry said. So it's her word, unless we hear Stephen Curry himself say it. How do you prove it? In the case of ESPN, this is a multi-billion-dollar, company. And a lot of, in these cases, they have a lot of contracts with companies where you have guaranteed dollars. These guys that they're paying their staff, they're paying them guarantees in terms of like they're paying them a fixed amount. They're paying Stephen A. Smith, for example, $12 million a year. So it's not like as if 1 month you're going to receive your $1 million salary and the next month is going to be cut in half because we didn't get enough views. No, it's not like that, right? So their revenue is quite consistent. And if you understand your revenue is consistent, all you have to do is just put out great content and you're going to make your money, right? But as y'all know, networks with ratings and all of these different, it's a totally different game. And it seems like in some cases that some people are just not willing to take the long way. People just want to skip the line. And in this case, it seems like she tried to skip the line and it came back to bite her in the butt because Andre Iguodala is basically calling BS on that story and they're saying, hey, listen, Stephen Curry never said it. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about Andre Iguodala essentially calling out ESPN for putting out a false story on one of his teammates that created a whole bunch of drama and ratings, and it was never true? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.